Hey everybody, waitingfornextyear.com podcast. I'm Craig Lindell, and today I have a kind of a special podcast. I'm talking to comedian Bret Ernst. That's Breternst. He's a buddy of Chad Zumock's. He's playing the Kent stage with Chad on December 23rd. You can get tickets at thekentstage.com. And I talked to him. He's an interesting guy. He's a comedian. He's an actor. 20-year career. He's got a new special that he's released for free on bretcomedy.com, BRET comedy.com. And so we talk a little bit about comedy, a little bit about acting, and apologize a little bit for we were having some communication issues where there was a bit of a delay. So we did our best not to talk over each other and things like that. And but hope you enjoy the conversation. I certainly did. So make sure you consider going to see Bret and our buddy Chad at the Kent Stage on December 23rd. thekentstage.com. Here's the podcast.
Waiting for next year. Waiting for next year.
It's the waitingfornextyear.com podcast. And today we're doing something a little bit different. You know Chad Zumock, he's been on this show a lot, and he's opening up for Bret Ernst. And so he hooked us up with Bret. That's Bret with one T. They're playing the Kent Stage on December 23rd. Tickets are available at thekentstage.com. How's it going, Bret?
It's all right. How's it going, buddy? Good?
It's good, man. I was saying Kent, and then I had to say Bret, and I called you Brent, so that I'm off to a good start.
That's all right. People do. I've been called Brent my whole life. Everybody always used to add the N.
Yeah, well, I'm a Craig who gets called Greg with a G all the time, so I'm used to that as well. Yeah,
something about. I told my mom. I said, you had to pick that name, But I'm pretty sure she would have given me Brent. Everybody would have called me Bret. So whatever. It's the way it goes. Anyways, how you doing? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's great. I'm thinking about you right now because I've got about 4 or 5 inches of snow on the ground. I think you're based in LA and you're coming out here in December. What makes you think coming to Ohio in December is a good idea?
I'm good with snow for Christmas. My in-laws are there. But after Christmas, like right now, I wish it was snowing in LA. I like it, the weather around the holidays. It's just like when you get into February and March is when you're like, oh, God. Because I grew up in snow. I grew up in Jersey. And, the cold, I don't know. I even think about moving out there, to be honest with you, sometimes, to Ohio.
Really? Why Ohio of all places?
Well, my wife's family's from there, and it's plus you guys can live like a human being for a decent amount of money. The way California is just so expensive, man. Oh, and plus the whole state's on fire. So.
Yeah, there is that. There is that. So I had heard of you already, but I started doing some homework just because we're doing this podcast, and so for those who aren't aware, you've been on Comedy Central. You got to do when Ari Shaffir was still doing the show. You got to be on his show. That was a hysterical clip on YouTube.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, there's some more episodes coming out, but obviously Ari's not hosting it anymore. Someone else is, but I already shot another season. It's called "This Is Not Happening." But Ari's a good friend of mine. I've known him forever, so it's one of the reasons how I got on the show. So I'm glad the clip worked out. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, well, and that's the interesting thing about Comedy Central nowadays is that there's kind of the for TV version, and then you can go find the uncensored version on YouTube later, and so it kind of serves two audiences at once.
Yeah, uncensored is always better.
Yeah, certainly for comedy.
Absolutely. I always say if you want to see how good a comic is, go watch him in a nightclub. Because a lot of times, TV, it doesn't really do it justice. You know what I mean? Because they'll say, okay, you can't say this, you can't say that. you know, and people who have developed a nightclub set for so many years, you know, you have to trim the fat, so to speak, on it. But if you really want to see how good a comedian is, just go to their natural habitat and watch them live. Comedy is always the best live.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And that's, I mean, every comedian we've ever talked to says that same thing. And they, you know, we've talked to different comedians about what it was like to try and get TV ready, you know, not only from a content, cleaning it up from a content standpoint, but also like tightening it up to a 3-minute set. You know, you guys are used to like stretching out, finding some room, finding some comfort, and then, you know, working your way into, you know, 15 minutes or a half hour or a headlining hour or whatever. And so the TV version, it always feels like just a totally different thing.
Yeah, no, it is. It is a different thing. It would be like, you know, you make this gravy, you know, like a sauce, tomato sauce, and they're asking you, you know, you make this amazing gravy, and they're like, wow, this tastes great. Can you make this again? But this time you can't use garlic or basil or pepper, you know, and then you're going to try and make it as good, but it's always better if you're just free to throw all the ingredients in there, you know. And you also have to deal with corporate sponsors and stuff like that, you know, like if you have a joke about, say, McDonald's, they'll say, no, you can't do that, you know, or, you know, it's that type of stuff. But you know what? It's all part of the game, you know. You have to play that. You have to play that game. But as a fan of stand-up, if you're a real fan, like I said, go watch it live, and then anything can happen, and you can say anything, and it's great. It's the ultimate form of free speech.
So, it being 2017, almost 2018, there's also kind of that freedom of channel to get things out there. And your most recent special, you decided to release it for free on the web. Mm-hmm. So what's that all about? I mean, how did that? I mean, I know what it's all about, but how did that decision come to be where it made sense to you to just throw it up on? And I'll tell everybody, it's Bret Comedy with one T, BRET comedy.com, and you can get the entire hour for free.
Yeah. By the way, you know, I just guidoed out by doing an analogy, making spaghetti sauce or marinara or gravy. Yeah, no, the thing is, you know, as an artist, I can control the content and I can control the distribution nowadays, you know. And over my 20 years of doing stand-up, I developed a nice little following. And, you know, some of these places, when you first shoot it, because I did the whole thing by myself. I paid for it by myself. You know, I put all my money in. And I didn't cut any corners. It's professionally done. You know, we shot it in HD, or actually 4K, but we shot it in HD. We used all cameras that, you know, the movies use. I don't want to get into technical terms because it's boring, but we used all the state-of-the-art equipment. We got it colorized, all that stuff. You know, the way it should be done, it looks like a regular special, a real special you'd see anywhere. And the thought process behind it is, you know, I say this, I hate being told what I can say and can't say. And even though I don't find it's not really offensive, it's the way, it's the story of my life. It's things that I wanted to talk about. And, you know, sometimes when people put offers in for it or they want to buy it, they want to own it. You know what I mean? They want to edit it. And I was just like, you know what? In today's day and age, there's so much free content out there. I prefer they just watch it, and, you know, you can own it. If you wanted to buy it, you can download it for $5, or, you know, you could buy a T-shirt and you get it with the T-shirt. But you could just go to bretcomedy.com, hit play, and watch it for free. I don't really care. Just if you could leave an email, but you don't even have to leave your email. I just wanted to get it out. That's all. I just wanted to get it out, and I gave it to everybody. I don't really care.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
and
you know what I mean?
It's really cool that you find yourself in a place in your career where you get to make those kinds of decisions, not only to self-produce the special, but then to do with it whatever you want after the fact. You know, it takes a while to get there. Some guys never get there. And so how you act and how you control or what decisions you make once you have that power, that it says a lot. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, thanks, man. And it was something that I don't know if I'd do it again like that because, I had to shoot it all in one take. I shot it the night before the Super Bowl, and I shot it all in one take. I had one shot to do it because that's all I had the money for, and I just I had this idea of doing because I don't know if you're familiar with what a one-man show is.
Oh yeah,
but a lot of comics do one-man shows, but it's kind of like a one-man show, but in a stand-up format, and I don't know. I mean, I'm proud of it. If I could do it again, I would, I would shoot it. I would do things a little differently, but, it is what it is. But I've had some good people work on it. My buddy Neil Brennan helped me edit it, and gave me notes on it and stuff. I don't know if he created the Chappelle Show. He's a brilliant comic. One of my favorite comedians. He actually has a special on Netflix called Three Mics that you should go see.
Yeah, I think I heard him on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, Neil's a very interesting guy, but and I had a lot of my friends that are other comics put it on. But again, it's for free, so go watch it at bretcomedy.com. Just if you can, leave an email, or if you want to help out and buy it, you could do that as well, or buy a T-shirt, whatever. But you don't have to do any of that. You could just go watch it. Or
you could always come to the Kent stage on December 23rd and see him with Chad Zumock, thekentstage.com. I also, in doing some research on you, I also checked out your IMDb page, and you've done some acting. I was like, I don't know how big of I don't know if it ever got to cult status, but I'm a fan of Beer League, and so I was really excited to see Beer League on your list of things that you've been in.
Yeah, I was. I just got a small role in that one. I was up for two of the leads, but I just had a little small role in that. But Artie's a good friend of mine too, And ironically, Ralph Macchio was in it, and I just recently shot the series for that's going to come out on YouTube Red, but it's called Cobra Kai, and this isn't a segue to it. It's a show about the Karate Kid. I don't know if you heard that, but it's with Ralph Macchio and Johnny and Billy Zabka, and it takes place now that they're in their 50s. So when I was doing that show, I saw Ralph, and I'm like, I don't know if you remember me, and he goes, yeah, I remember you. You were the third baseman. That's what I'm listed as, Carino third baseman.
Well, no, it's
there's a scene in the movie where me and him I fight Artie, and he breaks it up, and that's the big scene in Beer League.
Dude, I'm so happy you brought that up because I was going to ask you about Cobra Kai. I'm a gigantic Karate Kid fan. I'm one of the weird people that I think I might actually like Karate Kid 2 even better. But so I have a little bit about me. I'm kind of a whatever. I own an insurance agency in the Cleveland area, and so I've started doing these events where every month I go to a local theater and I bring back an old movie. And at the end of January, I'm hosting a screening of The Karate Kid just because I love that movie so much, and I want to show my kids that movie on the big screen. So. Like, I can't believe they're making Cobra Kai, and then I can't believe it's what, a half-hour comedy?
Yeah, it's like a comedy. It's the guys who did Harold and Kumar and Hot Tub Time Machine, and Will Smith's company is executive producing it with him because he bought the rights, I think, because he remade it with his kid. But it's really the series itself it's really cool, man. It was cool to work with him. But if you do watch Beer League, like I said, don't blink or you'll miss me.
No, this is the best thing. Is not like the fact that they're not remaking it, the fact that they're bringing back Billy Zabka and Ralph Macchio, and they're like picking it up where it left off. I love that.
Oh, dude, it's really cool, man. It's really cool. It was great. I'm only in 6 out of the 10 episodes, but it's pretty dope, man. It was. I'll tell you, working with Ralph. What was really cool about working with Ralph Macchio? The guy is really a student of film, and he's very established actor. Like because he worked with John Avildsen, who directed The Karate Kid, who also did Rocky. And he also worked with Francis Ford Coppola, because remember The Outsiders. And asking him, talking to him, his body of work is really incredible, man. From My Cousin Vinny to Crossroads to The Karate Kid to The Outsiders. I remember I don't know if you remember the movie Teachers that he did. It was like a comedy. There were so many cool projects he was a part of, and listening to him talk about those days in Hollywood, especially in the '80s, he's really a student of the game, man. Pretty cool cat, man, to pick his brain, I'll tell you.
I've also heard him on radio interviews, and he's like he's not particularly edgy. He's he's not anything of what you kind of maybe would expect, and but you can tell his seriousness for it.
Absolutely, he's very refined. He's very refined. He's very cultured, and really educated. He's not a dumb Guido who makes Sunday gravy comparisons.
Just for those who are listening at home, I want to let you know that we do have a slight delay between us because of the technology and the phone call here. So if it sounds a little bit awkward or we start talking over each other a little bit, that's what's going on, and I apologize for that. But we're talking to Bret Ernst. He's a comedian. He's going to be at the Kent stage.
I do hear that delay. I think you're breaking up, buddy.
And that's how it ended. It was really a tough day with the Skype, especially calling via phone to California. But thanks so much to Bret Ernst. Thanks to Chad Zumock for hooking up that interview. And here's hoping you check out all the things we talked about. There's his special on bretcomedy.com, BRET comedy.com. There's the show he and Chad are performing on December 23rd at the Kent Stage at thekentstage.com. Thanks again to Bret Ernst. We'll talk to you next time. It's been the waitingfornextyear.com podcast.